Welcome back to the Piping Pastor. Well, today it'll just be another one of those live chat videos. So, essentially, as a VR to Potter Piper. And also sharing a bit of news. And for this today, I'm smoking in my Scottish freehand pipe. This is the one I picked up in Leith when we had our holiday there, because I wanted a pipe from Scotland, made in Scotland. Beautiful pipe. But it's a seriously thick bowl, so I don't smoke it probably as often as I should, just because it's a sitter. You have to sit with it for a long time. And in it, smoking some Elizabethan mixture. Well, first, a bit of news. We will shortly be saying goodbye to Maryland. And I spoke with some of you at Muletown about the nature of my ministry and how it is occasionally transient. We must go where we are called. Sometimes that means we have to move around a bit. So we'll be in a few short months moving to the great state of Texas. Downside to this, well, there's ups and downs about it, but I got to sell my little MG. So, great car, just not one you want to drive all the way across country. 4-speed soft top in on the highways amongst the big rigs and so forth is, it's not a good cross country car. But I'm selling it on bringatrailer.com, which is a really cool auction website. So if you're a classic car enthusiast, or they do all kinds of stuff. They do there's classics and hot rods and antiques and even some modern cars. But it's a neat little online program they have where they do auctions all across the country and shipping and everything else like that. It makes it a lot easier, especially when you're selling a classic or something. But in any case, so yeah, my little MG is going on the auction block this week. It was a lot of fun. I'm sure I'll get something else different in Texas. That's a bit of news I wanted to share. I'm probably going to be towards the end of summer, so we're heading over there. Great time to move to Texas, right? But speaking of that, I know there's a large concentration of us in and around the area of Maryland and Pennsylvania that oftentimes we go to Boswell's various different times and so forth. So over the next couple of months, I think it would be neat to do a meetup at Boswell's if anybody's interested. Sometime in May perhaps, before I leave the East Coast. Well, that's all the news that fit to print. Now onto the VR. Now Potter Piper asked about lawlessness. In particular, I think he was pointing towards the movement towards lawlessness. Of course, referencing that Lee Van Cleef classic, Escape from New York. I think when we speak in terms of lawlessness or a trend moving towards lawlessness, and I wanted to spend some time thinking about this. I mentioned this to him in a comment. I didn't want to just have a quick response on this. I think we have to first think about what we're talking about in terms of law. Because there is natural law and there's human law. And natural law really is divine in nature. Now, most people will say natural law, such as physics and so on and so forth, is a scientific thing. which is true. The sciences, in their various forms, of course, engage and rely upon natural law. However, natural law is not prescriptive, it's descriptive. Natural law is us figuring stuff out. 2 plus 2 equals 4 apart from our observation of it. That is something that is a priori knowledge. It is pre-existent fact. That kind of law, that kind of knowledge, those kind of facts that are not subject to postmodern nonsense. Not a fan of that, but they come from the divine source, the source of all creation. God is a God of order, and as such, there's order in the universe. That's why we have physical laws. Now, laws apart from that, laws that we create, are approximations. They're imitations of what natural law is. Because natural law, the impetus, the foundation of the universe, cannot be broken. The entire David Hume argument about miracles, about God interrupting God's self and God suspending natural law to create miracles and things like that, and that's an argument that God can't exist because God could not act against God's self. That's just because we don't fully understand the nature of the universe. What we refer to as miraculous as occurrences, I don't even like using the term miraculous or miracle. It's just divine action. It's God acting. And it's miraculous to us because it's God acting in a way outside of our own method of understanding. So those natural laws are unbreakable. Those natural laws, those laws that come from God, are there. It's an unshakable truth. Our human laws are approximations thereof. And as such, our approximations, our imitations don't hold up. In the same way that a model of something, a copy of something, an imitation of something doesn't have the same staying power as the original. It's the same thing with laws. We crave that. We desire laws and structure, which is why anarchist and completely hedonistic societies don't actually exist anywhere, and never have for any length of time, because humans crave structure. We crave that order that comes from God because that's where we come from. Now, why do we tend towards lawlessness? Well, simply put, we're not God. So our laws are not perfect and our laws are not untenable. And we have sinful nature. There's no two ways about it. We're imperfect creatures. We desire law. We desire social structures. We desire to live in societies. But we also all want our own way. If we're all in the same boat and we all know we have to row in one direction to get to a certain island, pretty simple. 6 of us in a boat, we all row the same direction to get that island. However, and that's lawful activity, right? However, the closer we get to that island, we start seeing other islands pop up. And like some people are like, oh, well, I like that island. Someone else says, oh, well, I like that island. Then what happens? Well, then I want to start rowing that direction. You want to start rowing that direction. We both think we're right. We both want what we want. So we start rowing in different directions. Lawlessness. We have different opinions about what should happen, where things should go, and so on and so forth. And especially in the United States, with the really just argumentative and tenaciously aggressive political environment we have, everybody rowing in different directions. If you're doing 10 things, and I agree with 9 of them, that's usually a good place to compromise, and we can head that direction. But if I'm holding fast to that one thing and wanting to go a different direction with it, then we're not going to come together. If there's no compromise, if there's no social unity deciding on, okay, well, here's the best direction for us to go, generally speaking, then yeah, things break down. I want to do this, you want to do that. We can't agree because we have 2 vastly different views. then we go our own way. So it's an interesting dichotomy. We have that need for law, that desire for law, that innate desire to live in a structured society with laws and rules. But we also have our selfish desire that makes us want to go our own way. And when those two things come together, we start breaking the laws. Because we can, because they're transient and they're not permanent. And it ebbs and flows, right? There's times in societies in different countries and different places where lawlessness peaks and then descends, and everyone thinks we get to the point where it's like just total anarchy and chaos, and everyone stops for a second and is like, wait a minute, we've all been rowing in 6 different directions. Not only are we not getting to my island, we're not getting to your island, and the boat's filling up with water. Stop it. Go here. And it corrects. Because like Martin Luther says, the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. I would say the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards law, the natural law, God's righteousness. It bends that way because it's God's ultimate plan for the universe. So, yeah, lawlessness does exist. And if we had to say what was the purpose of that, I would say the purpose of that is to remind us that our laws are fallible and our laws are temporary, and that there is an ultimate natural law that we should be following. And we should all be rowing in the same direction towards that. Because that island is God, and that island is the ultimate truth, and that island is the true natural law. So, long-winded response, but there you go. Say, I had a lot to think about that. So, in any case, I'm going to get back to my massive pipe of Elizabethan mixture here. Enjoy the rest of my afternoon. I hope you have a lovely week. And as always, happy reading.